Hello,
Hello, Francisco. Nice to see you.
how are you? Fine?
Yep. Oh, I see Fernanda too. That's nice. Mm. I have a tough audience.
Okay.
Fernanda, you're on mute.
Yes, yes, I've made myself available now, hearable.
Okay. How are you doing?
Fine, fine, okay.
Meeting in Italy went well.
It was fantastic because after, almost 3 years of lockdown,
Oh, yes.
it was exciting for the families and the doctors to get together, and it was really, really good. So we're looking forward to next year's meeting, and lots of things are looking up nicely. We are taking part in a research project on
That's
Gaucher's
nice.
disease with Teleton.
Ah, yeah.
You know how that works.
Yes.
Researchers, you put in the money, and researchers. It's at the end on the 28th. It's already expired. They've had until the 28th of November, Italian researchers to present a project, which will be evaluated internationally to avoid conflicts and things like that.
Yes.
You don't want to waste all that money for nothing.
No.
And then they'll have, then we'll be meeting with them when they have the first meeting in English with all the scientists and referees and things. And so we'll have an idea, and then it will be given the next day in Italian so that the members of the board can also listen. In the meantime, we already have an idea of, we will have an idea of what kind of project we'd like to invest in. So that's good. It's the first time we've been able to put so much money aside.
Oh, yeah. It's never easy. No.
No,
I can understand that. Yeah.
exactly.
That's why today we are talking about money. So.
In fact, I said, let me hear what they're going to say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll try to make it interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Okay. Did you get my package? My little package?
Package.
Yes, I sent you something, but I sent it to England, to your address.
Yes, I have
Angel.
it here.
Yeah, you see?
This is the package. So it came to me, so I have it ready for when Vesna comes down.
So Angel's going to keep it, and you
Yeah,
better
I'll
keep
keep it
it
safe.
nicely, or she won't give it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to UK, I think on the 12th,
Ah, good. Okay.
to see people and the office.
And the office. Okay. That's good. So
Yeah, I think we have like 20 people registered,
uh-huh.
if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to wait a little bit
Sure. No
for
problem.
people to join in. I'm waiting 5 minutes and that's it.
The 20 people, you might as well. There's Michaela.
Yeah, and I see Kim. I haven't seen him in a while too. And Manjit. Okay.
Darcy.
So I guess we are almost all in cold countries, except maybe for Manjit and Francisco.
And
Yes.
only Christian is not.
Oh, Christian is in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is cold as North Macedonia. It's the same.
Ah.
What?
Okay.
Here is 18.
18. Oh my
18
God.
degrees. Lucky you.
You're so lucky.
Yeah. We had snow up on the hills around our place. You can
Excellent.
imagine. Yeah, excellent.
All our snow has melted away. It's very warm in northern Sweden. It's only 1 minus.
1 minor. Okay.
And it's usually, this time it's usually about 10, 15 minus.
Yeah. Well, 1 is good.
I used to live in the northern part of Italy, of Lombardia, towards the border. It was called Sondrio. Bormio was it's a famous skiing resort, and it was normally like 15, 20 degrees below zero, and it used to even snow during the summer in July.
No,
It was
I don't like that. No,
no.
I like warm weather.
So do I, but not like we had last year. It was terrible. It was more than
I'm waiting for December when it will go below 25 in Sweden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see Manuel is joining me too. Manuel, I hope you will understand. I'm still connecting.
okay.
I think he only understands Spanish, but I'm still not speaking Spanish.
Ay, Vesna.
I will. Yeah. This year I will finish A1 course. Next year I'm doing A2 and B1. So
All for Spanish?
Yep.
Ah. Well,
I
then
thought it was a good idea.
no, you're right. You're right.
I'm still young to learn languages.
Of course you are. I remember Ali Zimmerman for 20 years, 30 years was telling us that he was, next time I'm going to study Italian. Next time I'm going, and 30
But
years.
he didn't.
No, he didn't. Of course not.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a difference between saying you want to do it and doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it takes a lot of concentration.
So I think I'm going to start because we waited for 7 minutes already, and that's enough time. And I'm going to start with my beans. So if you can see, these beans grow up in only 3 days now. So we've planted them with my daughter 3 days ago, but we were lucky enough to give them enough water, enough warmth, enough sun, and they grew up. Running an organization, it's just like taking care of something that's alive, like beans or a pet that you may have, a cat or a dog. So if you take care of it, it will grow up, it will love you back, and it will give you happiness, but you have to take care of it very well. It's the same with fundraising too. If you take care of your sponsors and donors, they will take care of you. If you take care of people who volunteer for you, they will continue volunteering and giving to your organization. So today, yes, we are going to speak about fundraising, but I would like to hear your thoughts too around it, because it's not just about me talking. That would be very boring. I'm not going to do presentations like who am I and who are you, because we all know each other pretty much well. As you know, I'm the projects officer, but in IGA, but today I am here as a representative of the organization Live with Challenges and as a trainer to talk about fundraising, because I think we have done well in North Macedonia for our small organization in a small country to actually have resources for our organization to do the work program that we have imagined each year. The organization is not just about Gaucher disease, it's about rare diseases. But I have to tell you that most of our donations actually come because of Gaucher disease and not because of the other rare diseases. That's important to mention, because I know that most of you actually run only Gaucher disease organizations. So if you need to take a break in this hour that we are together, Just turn off your camera and your microphone and take water, go to the bathroom, whatever is needed. Lay down if you want to, no problem. It's not something that requires for you to be standing up or sitting down. This can also be done in a bed or in a very nice, comfortable chair. When you talk, please turn off your phone, because otherwise you can talk to us and then the phone can ring or get notifications. Today, just for you to know, the knowledge and experience is for all of us. So ask whatever you want to know. If you want to interrupt me during my presentation, please do so. Raise a hand or just unmute yourself and start talking. I will stop, no problem. The meeting will be recorded because we need to share it with our members, IGA members, as an education tool. And hopefully it will also be translated in some other language. So the first thing that I want you to do is to share. And for you to do that, I'm gonna send you, a link in the chat. Where are you? Okay, here you are. This is the link. So please click on this link that I sent you in chat in the Zoom. And there is a question that you will need to answer. Are you able to click? Yeah, okay, that's nice. So you can answer not only once, you can do it multiple times, like write one word and then another. How do you get funds for your work program? How do you fund your organization's activities? How do you do that? I want to hear from you so I can tell you what I do and what other organizations do to keep funds coming into the organization and to keep running the activities. Okay, we have some answers already. You can keep on voting, they will show up, don't worry. I see that some people do charity events. Sometimes I have to tell you that it turns out to be more expensive to do the event than you get money from it. It happens a lot of times because it's not easy to gather people and to make them donate money. But sometimes if you find sponsorship to do the charity event and then keep the money from the event for your organization, that's better. I see sponsorships, I see grants for pharma companies, personal private donations, members, pharma industry projects. Okay, donors and donations, we are staying in the same circle, more or less. I'll stop sharing this. Does anyone wants to speak about their experience in getting money?
I can go on with that. Because the Swedish organization, as I don't think you all know, is the first Gaucher organization in the world, actually.
Yeah.
We started about 50 years ago. So mostly donations from pharmaceutical companies, actually. The big part of the money goes. But also in Sweden, we have pretty much, the state has a lot of state funded money you can apply for to host events. So in Sweden, we have never really had any real big problems to hosting bigger events mostly because of the pharmaceuticals, but mostly even with money from the state. So
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's like in North Macedonia, and I also know that that happens in other countries, not just in the region, also in Europe. You have government funding, but you also have local funding from the municipality that your organization is actually registered. If you like Life with Challenges, the organization that I have in North Macedonia, actually is registered in Bitola, but it also has its representative offices in Skopje and in Ohrid, because this is how we can actually ask money from 3 municipalities and not just from one, which is, a better chance to get a project. Usually the money that they give are not a large sum of money. It's mostly from 500 euros to 5,000 euros, but it's usually enough to fund partially some of your projects and to show to your donors and sponsors that you have diversity in funding, that you are supported in many different ways. And state funding is usually not that easy, and usually they ask you to partner with another organization on the projects that you want to work on, and it's never easy to actually agree with other organizations about the things that you want to work on. Usually in our case would be other organizations for different rare diseases, or getting support from the National Alliance for Rare Diseases. Has any of you maybe gotten support from the National Alliances? No?
Yes, in Sweden we have the
Yeah.
The national rare disease umbrella corporation.
And did they support some events for your organization?
Yes,
Yeah.
usually they send some money, but that doesn't. It's a little money.
Yeah, it's a little.
But
yeah. But it shows diversity, and
yes,
this
it
is
shows
what's
the bird,
important. Because when you show people that you have, 10 different ways to fund your organization, they are more willing to give to you. And when you have only 1 or 2 funds available, it makes them suspicious. Oh, why do you have so little support? What's going on in your organization? Can I see all of your activities? Can I see all of your reports? I want to also see financial reports. It makes them more careful when they give donations. So if they see different things, they are more willing to give. This is why I usually publish our sponsors and our cooperators on the web page. So when you click on the web page, you can see who donated in the past years, who is the organization cooperate with, who is the organization member in. Like Life with Challenges is a member of IGA, it's also a member of Eurordis, it's also a member of the International Alliance of Patient Organizations and other organizations. But it shows that we work with other people, that we cooperate with other people, like with national alliances from the region. We also cooperate with them, and we put them on our web page to show to people that we are not closed, that we are very open, because we want to cooperate, because this is the way that we can do more for our members. We get experience, and then we get more ideas about what to do in our country and help our patients to have better quality of life. We also use different ask for donations like from private companies, although that's not easy also, and maybe you will get less money. But when you think about it, you get a little money here, a little money there, a little money there, and then you have a good amount of money that you can work with. Another resource that you can use is something called in-kind donations. I don't know if you've actually heard of in-kind donations, and if you use in-kind donations. Would any of you like to share about your experience with in-kind donations? No, no experience at all. Okay, okay, I will speak about it now. So, in-kind donations are when people or companies don't give you money, but they give you something else. It can be a service, it can be technical equipment, but it can be so much more. Like you need to have a conference. You have enough money to pay for travel for the participants, but you are lacking money to have a conference room. So you are asking a hotel or a private company to donate space for a conference room for you to have your meeting. And they are able to do that. I know that in North Macedonia, it happened that one pharma company was moving their offices and they wanted to get rid of their old furniture and computers and plants even. They want to, they wanted to start from new. So they called our organization and a couple of other organizations, and they said, do you need something like a computer, a laptop, a telephone, a plant, a desk, a chair? So we took everything, different organizations. We were 10 organizations and we all took what we needed, which was a nice way for us to get some things without paying for them. And you always need stuff like that, Technical equipment is something that's always useful. And the plants, we actually donated them to families, like a present to surprise them for Women's Day or something like that, which was again something useful. It can also be something that's a service. Like my accountant doesn't charge full price for the organization for doing the accounting. He also has a rare disease, which is helpful, but instead of we are only paying 50% of the full price of what accountant would take from us, which is of help for us. He's doing all the work and he's only taking 50%. He's not charging us in full. When we were building a web page, we didn't have any money to do it. So we were doing it ourselves and it looked very stupid. Yeah, I have to say that. It was terrible, a terrible web page. And our logo was also terrible. I was making it in a Word document, which did not look good. So I met with some marketing companies and one of them said, you know what? We are going to rebrand you. And they did it in 2 months. They made a new logo, a new web page. They populated the web page. They shared with us how easy it is. So they learned that they actually did a training for me and a couple of volunteers about how to do the web page ourselves, how to add new news, how to add new content on it, which was amazing. And after that, it was easier for us to show to people, look, we look good. Our web page is amazing. But somebody did that for us. And of course, they are still on our web page saying thank you to them because they did this for us. They did our website. Also, when we started the organization, we didn't have enough money to print or design materials. And I was fortunate enough to have a friend who had a printing company, and my husband was doing design, and he did the printing for free, my friend, and we had materials for our first Goshe Day to be done as it should be, with nice things to share with people, to educate them and to inform them. So it can be a service, it can be goods, it can, sometimes it happens that you call a company that sells, I don't know, beverages like juice and water, and they donate juice and water for your conference. So you can have them for your participants, or they can donate coffee or food. So there are millions of things that you can ask from people, and they don't have to be, it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be finance. You have the project and you actually write to people, okay, you can donate money, but you can also do something else because we need this, this, and this. Is this more understandable now when I talk about in-kind donations?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. So now when I explained it, did you have any in-kind donations in your?
I have a submission, Vesna.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Vesna, Angel, Fernanda, Liliana, and all other colleagues. Manjeet from India. After a long time, we are meeting overboard. So far in-kind services are concerned, I have to add that in India, in my organization, most legal counsels are doing pro bono job for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are not charging anything except for some clerical, paperwork.
Yeah, that's nice.
Otherwise, they are fair enough to work with us, and without any charging any fees or anything else. So for the funding subject was concerned, which you have sent a link, I have already sent my comments. It has become very difficult in India to get funding.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult everywhere. I can
Yeah.
tell you from my organization in North Macedonia. This year, I think we got half the funds that we got in the past 3 years. So
Same
this
here,
year
same
and
here.
the past year, it became more difficult to get funding. Some people say that COVID is the problem, but I think companies actually saved money with COVID because
Yeah, they saved.
yeah, and they made more money because of COVID, but at the end they give less money to the organizations, unfortunately. So we have to be creative and find other ways to actually do our activities or to get funding. So and I'm showing you some
Vesna,
pictures.
just okay. Carry
Yep.
on. Huh?
No,
What
if you
I'm
have,
saying, yours may be small country. India is a big country, no?
yes,
All of you
yes.
guys know it's a big country. We have a huge volume of population, and my organization LSDSS has a number of patients, more than 900 patients, who are accurately diagnosed. Out of that, about 350 are getting the lifetime treatment through pharma companies and through government sponsored organizations who are reimbursing them. But it's an uphill task for all of us. We have so much of things to do. Just dealing with 900 people by one person or team of my people, me and CEO, and there are some few volunteers who are working with us.
Yeah.
But there is a huge need for funding in times to come. And they have so much of compliances now. The pharma companies have so much of compliances. The audit,
know,
the legal
yeah.
compliance, so
Yeah.
they are withering away.
Yeah, this is why I'm talking today about, different creative ways and not just asking pharma companies, because we need to get creative. Otherwise, we will not survive.
Yeah, we cannot depend on
no.
them at all.
We cannot depend always just on pharma companies, and that's the truth. And we have to find diverse ways to actually do our activities. So you mentioned volunteers in the organization. That's another another part of how you do your activities. Sometimes you have volunteers that are with you all the time in the organizations, and those are dedicated people that help you do more complicated stuff. Like I have a volunteer who is dedicated to social media. So she is always on Facebook and Instagram, putting things together, showing to people, raising awareness, making sure that every day something new gets posted and people are engaged. So that's one kind of volunteer. But there are also other kinds of volunteers that you can use, like people who have time to be engaged with you for a specific task or a project or a specific event. So somebody can volunteer to be your photographer for the event. He can photograph the event, he can make nice pictures, edit them and send to you packaged very nicely, so you can publish them and share with the people who participated in the event. You can ask somebody to help you out with doing a video, editing a video and doing a video for social media. Another specific task would be translation of something. You need translation, somebody volunteers to do that. We usually find people on social media, and sometimes people find us and say, we want to volunteer for you. And I say, okay, we have this, this, and this. What will you be interested to do? So, of course, in North Macedonia, it's a small organization, so we don't have the volunteer program that we have in the International Gauchel Alliance. Internationally, it's more complicated and it has to be a process with a lot of policies and documents. But for national and local use, it can be quite more simple, with simple agreements with people, just to agree that they will do something, and you agree to accept their volunteering, their time and their expertise. Usually when you start looking for volunteers, it's your family and friends, but try not to overuse them, because sometimes they will like, oh, are you asking me to do something again? Like, you know, let me take a break or something. So
Yes.
and that's understandable. So this is why, you know, it's better to use maybe, I don't know if you've tried, I've tried, and it was very successful. I've used volunteers from youth organizations and student organizations. So for 5 years now, I'm actually cooperating with the medical student organization in North Macedonia. And that's, you know, they have their own organization. It's a non-profit organization, just like ours, but we are for patients, they are for students, medical students. So each year they organize events that are for education for rare diseases. They also have once a year for Gaucher disease, because they know me and they know the doctors quite well in Gaucher disease, and they want to learn more about it. And they also involve the pharma students, so they learn too. And when we have events, they volunteer. They come like 5 people. They can be the people who stand on the table with materials and share the materials. They are also the people who show participants where to sit down, to hand out the microphones when people talk, to take care of the coffee and the food coming in. So they are, you know, like logistic in the event. So we use them for events, which is great, because you always need more help when you do events. You just need to explain people what to do and be very clear and make sure they understand you. Because if you are not clear giving out tasks, they won't do them. You have to be very strict in this. So these are more examples of people volunteering and also people doing activities for us. So the picture with the chocolates here with the nice colors. So for Easter, one private company that makes chocolates called us and said, do you want us to make chocolates for you? And we said, okay, what's the idea? What's going on? And they said, we will make chocolates and give it to you, and you can sell them and keep the finance so that you can use them for activities for your organization. So for Easter, we were able to sell chocolates and get money for them. The same thing is something that we did over Christmas. So because Christmas is very near, I'm mentioning this to you. I saw Fernanda on Facebook posting from the Italian organization some sweets and postcards. Maybe you can share that, Fernanda, if you want to. You're muted.
Yes, we started this last year, but the company didn't give us the chocolates free. We paid for chocolates, of course. And so taking away all the expenses for the chocolates and this sort of thing, we earned a little bit of money, not much, but 2,000 or 3,000 euros. Okay. And there were only 6 people doing this. This year, we posted this photograph. The little cards you see are 5 by 1,000. It's called Cinque per Mille, because when you do your tax returns, I think that's what you call it, and you go and give them your tax sheet, whatever it is, you can you can choose to give 5%, 5% of whatever you have in your tax returns to an organization, to an association or whatever. And we've made up these cards with the number with our fiscal code, so that patients, anybody, we sent them out everywhere. And that's another way we get a lot of money each year.
Excellent.
And it's enabled us to reach 50,000 euros in 2 years towards
That's excellent.
Yeah. And now we're doing the Christmas thing again. Now, last year we wrote to the families. Nobody replied. Not one person replied, offering to sell the chocolates or whatever or whatnot. When we explained at the conference that we had managed to raise for the first time in our lives 50,000 euros for a research project, thanks to, you know, 1 penny here, 1 penny there sort of thing.
Of course.
They became involved, and we have a lot of families who are will be offering the chocolates, because we cannot sell. We can give it as a donation. Let's say starting from 12,000 euro onwards, you can donate. It's a legal thing, so we have to do it that way. It's the way our association is. We cannot sell things, but we can give them away.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, it's not that you sell them, but you say we are going to send you chocolates and you can donate to our transaction account.
Exactly.
Something like that. Yes.
Exactly.
Of course.
And you have to try, because Italy is very difficult. It's not a very charitable country. It's not like the UK or the United States, where everybody does things like marathons and this and that and races and so on and so forth. They are very distrustful of anybody asking for money. So so you have to try it this way, and it's working, because the companies, the pharma companies, are reducing their input. Of course, you know that, as you said.
Yes,
and
they do.
It's not enough to even hold a meeting or to run the association for a year. So you've got to do something like this. You've got to invent something that could pick up in where you live and help. There is a chance to ask for, as Kim was saying, ask for money from the municipality. Yeah, but I've never done that, because I've always been a kind of I don't know. I've never asked for money from the government or from local governments. I don't know.
I haven't done. I haven't asked from government too. From municipalities, yes, but from government, I only ask money for medicines. That's
Okay, yeah, okay. No, we have no problems with the medicines, but it's difficult. Plus, we have changed system now,
Yeah.
and you know, and we still don't know how it's working. So I'm very careful about before, you know,
Of
asking
course.
for public
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, yeah. So what you've shared with the taxes is also a very nice idea, because in many countries, private companies get deduction in taxes if they
Yes.
donate to non-government organizations.
Even
So
citizens.
yes, citizens too. They can get, you know, they can pay less taxes if they actually
Exactly.
donate. So that's one thing that you can promote to people when you ask them to donate money, but when you ask them to donate time, that's something different. So on these pictures, you can also see events. It's like this next to the chocolates, the event with the umbrellas, that was completely organized by high school students in my hometown in Bitola. So that was my actually my ex-school. I was learning in that school, in that high school, the gymnasium, and they gathered together and they made an event by themselves. So they didn't ask for money or anything. They just said, we want to raise awareness about rare diseases, and they just did an event by themselves. I just showed up to give statements to journalists. That was it, because they called journalists, they organized the event, they did everything. This is also very helpful, because it's not always that you are, you know, capable to do an event, or sometimes you're very busy and you are on all sides and you cannot, you know, say, let's do an event or something. So when somebody does it for you, it's very helpful. The pictures below, so this one with the flag and the two people, these are people climbing mountains, and when they climb mountains, they take our flag, they put it out there, and they show the pictures in social media, and they actually raise awareness not just about rare diseases, but also about our organization. And they tell people that they need to donate money and time to our organization. So this is something that helps us to get more connections and more communication with private companies. Also the picture with more people over here, that's people running in a marathon, and they didn't run just in one town. They run in Skopje, in Bitola, in Ohrid, in Kumanovo. They run all over the country, and sometimes they also run in other countries like Slovenia, or they go to Serbia or Albania. They run there, and they always take our flag and again post pictures raising awareness about our organization. And again, this is another way to get contacts and to get people to help you out with your activities and with finance, but also, as I said, in-kind donations. It helps. So if you can cooperate with somebody, you should definitely cooperate with people and make your organization more visible. Because imagine if 100 people were running for our organization, most of them work in banks, they work in private companies that make a lot of money, like electricity or telephone companies, and they talk to their managers about our organization. They bring the t-shirt with our organization logo to their work. And this is how the manager thinks, oh, maybe we should donate money to this organization. It's a nice idea. So this is how you get more donors and sponsors for your activities, and they get less taxes to pay.
That's true.
Okay. So on the second picture in the middle, you will see these are students who were at our event in Struga. We had 300 people attending, and the students were making sure that everybody registers, that everybody is in the right conference room, because we had 4 conference rooms. So everybody had to be in the right one. And if we didn't have these students as volunteers, I would have to pay people to do this. But it's good, you know, you have the volunteers, you use them, and they get certificates, and they get recommendation letters saying the students helped in this conference, they were also involved in this and this. And you also, you know, say some nice things about them, like they are productive, helpful, communicative, because they need this when they go and ask for work after they graduate. So everybody needs some kind of a recommendation or a certificate, and this is how, you know, you get them to volunteer for you. We also don't forget to give out rewards. So on the 2 pictures next to the students, you would see a wooden thing that people have in their arms. So that wooden thing is actually the logo of our organization saying thank you. We sent one to Aurordis, and Vlasta took it to the French office, and they were very happy to receive a thank you from an organization. And we just wanted to, you know, we sent a letter to them saying we are grateful that you have supported us with documents, with a lot of policies, that you've shared with us a lot of experiences from countries, you've connected us with many events, and because of that, we managed to do a lot of activities in our country and to succeed in changing things regarding policies and access to management, treatment, and diagnosis of rare diseases. We also gave out awards. So on that event in Struga, you can imagine we had a special night just to say thank you to people. It was a party, we had live music and everything. And from time to time, I would go up to the stage and invite somebody and say, I want to say thank you to this or that pharma company because they helped us. And I was actually, you know, numbering the projects and also saying thank you for the connections with, I don't know, the USA embassy, or thank you for getting us into this meeting with the Ministry of Health. Thank you for introducing us with the health insurance fund. I was also saying thank you to volunteers, people who've helped. But I was also, you know, telling the story, how the volunteer came to our organization, how they started, what they did, who was helped by them, you know. And telling these stories helps people understand that giving money and giving time is actually for the good of the patients. I also had patients giving out speeches about how their life changed because of our activities, because of what we did as an organization. And this was amazing because everybody felt appreciated. They felt like they've not just given money and time, they've actually given something much more. They've given a better quality of life to so many people just by supporting our organization. And this is how we made even, you know, more people wanting to come to us to volunteer, to help, to support, but also give financial help. Okay, so before I continue, I want to ask you if you have, you know, if you say thank you to your sponsors, and how do you do that?
For example,
Well,
if we, sorry,
you first.
okay, receive donations from private companies, and to thank them, we send them a beautiful letter explaining the importance of their donation and how important it is for the patient and for the association in that case. With the pharmaceutical companies, we just say thank you. And that's it. I mean, you know, and to people who we thank them.
Yeah.
We
No,
can
you
write
can,
thank you notes or important thank you letters, depending
Yep.
on.
and you
Yeah.
publish them on your website that they are supporters.
No, that's
Yep.
something we have to do because we don't even publish our financial accounts.
Okay.
Because we're obliged to give them to the local
Yeah.
regional authorities. And now with this new thing that we have going on, we have to put it on a platform. I don't know how, I have no idea how Excel works, and I have no idea how you do a balance sheet or whatever you call it. So I've asked our accountant, you do something because I don't know what to do here. And
Yes, of course.
but I was thinking, and I have been thinking for a long time, that we could we have PayPal on our website, so patients, anybody can even donate €5, whatever it is, to PayPal. But maybe we should also keep a list of the people who make donations and thank them. I don't know if they want it, though. There's the problem of the privacy as well.
Of course, yes. You don't publish people that don't want to be published, but
Which
yes, you
means
can send them a Christmas card or better it would be a New Year's card, because people have different religions and different Christmases and different
Exactly.
holidays. But a New Year card is always helpful. Just say Happy New Year. Thank you for last year that you helped us with this and this. We are grateful, and you can send some picture or a short report and say we hope that you will support us next year, to remind them that you are still here. Usually people need reminders, they forget sometimes. So Kim, you wanted to share something?
In Sweden, we usually just send thank you notes to private people, not as much as to private companies that send us money,
Okay.
which isn't that often actually. I can't remember any time since I started in the organizations that we had money directly from private companies.
But have you asked them?
It's mostly private people and
Okay.
organizations we get. So we usually send them a thank you letter or flowers usually.
That's nice. Yeah. But you need to ask private companies to give you money, otherwise they won't know you exist. So that's another thing. If you don't ask, you don't get. Like when we started as an organization, we actually send like an introduction letter to people. So not the first year, but after a few years, when we had some activities to show that we are doing something, and we had more members in the organization, we actually wrote a very nice report, saying this is how we started, this is what we are doing, this is who we are, and we need your support. So please, if you want to know more, we can schedule a meeting, we can talk about it. We are not just asking for a financial support, we are also asking for in-kind support. So this is what we did, and this is how we got more people to know about us, actually. And they knew that they can support us and they can help us out. But there are different kinds of ways to actually get funding. And as I said, we need to get creative. This is just a repetition of some of the things as I said, but there are also some new things inside, like find free of charge event spaces, get volunteers, get people to do events from you, cooperate with other organizations, get the football club maybe to do a competition, and your organization can get the money from the tickets. Football is just an example. It can be a basketball, a skating rink, it can be whatever is popular in your country. But make them pay tickets so that you can get the finance from that. Of course, the club will donate the money to you because you're not selling stuff, because you're non-profit. You can also get some artists to do art or to give you art, so you can auction it for a donation for your organization. You can also, maybe a band, a music band would like to do a concert for your organization and donate you some percentage of the money from the tickets of the concert. That's also an idea. Of course, using New Year and other holidays is a nice thing to do. I usually just use New Year because, as I said, I don't want to mix up religious holidays. They don't go well with me. And of course, we have members with many different religions, so I don't want to do that. But I do find, somebody to print postcards for us and to sell them and then donate money for us, or get percentage of the money, of course. It can also be a cinema, do you have a local cinema in your town? Can you get them to give you some percentage of the tickets and they can also advertise that they are donating money, that they are being socially responsible. So usually I have many examples like this because we use them a lot in our country, especially the cancer organizations. They're using so many stuff. Like they from one company that has a lot of supermarkets, they actually gave them an office for free to use. Then the company that produces milk and the yogurt and milk stuff, like butter, cheese, and whatever. So on the milk carton, they have a pink ribbon saying, when you buy this milk, you donate, I don't know, €1 for €1, 20 cents for the cancer organization, and you're helping cancer patients. So, that's a kind of creativity that you can get onto, to use whatever exists, but to make it for yourself, for your organization. So your organizations can actually do more activities. And always say thank you. Don't you ever forget to say thank you to people. Find a way to be creative in that too, because a lot of people are getting letters, but you can find other things to give. We did this wooden thing, but you can do, I don't know, a snowman and send to people. It can be a cookie saying thank you. It can be flowers like Kim said. It can be anything, but you just remind people that you're thankful and that you need them still, so they don't forget about you, because patients' work, it's never finished, never. So I know that there are many challenges, but there are also many opportunities. And there are a lot of old ways that are not used, but there are also new opportunities that you can use, like new social media, like TikTok. I can't use that. I'm still not good in that. But the young generation, they are very good in it, and they can probably gather money for your organization just by using TikTok, and they will find a way to do it. So you think out of the box, but you also think in your box, because people usually forget that even in the box, there are many things that you can use, and they can be helpful and they can be useful. And you can get help and support everywhere, but you need to ask. If you don't ask, people won't give anything to you. And here, I also added something that's very important, but very few organizations think about this: having a reserve fund. So our organizations were in North Macedonia, it was very small, and at the beginning we didn't have a lot of money. It was, we do an event, we have money for that event, and then we have nothing. That's it. One event a year, and that was it. But then we started, getting some, as you mentioned in the beginning, we got an award for a project that we were thinking from a pharma company. And when we started with that project, we realized that it will be good if we keep some of that money for next year, like a reserve fund. So when we have an event, we have something to start with. So each year we started to, keep a little bit money aside. And we call that a reserve fund that's actually transferring from a year to a year. And sometimes it gets smaller, sometimes bigger. It depends on, what happens and how much are we going to do from our activities without money and how much we are going to need money. So depending on the situation, we have less or more, but we always keep a certain amount, like for 1 year to keep one employee and to do one event. That's the money that we keep. That's our reserve fund. One person to be able to work and to do one event. So, have any of you have maybe a reserve fund or no?
We do,
You do?
we do. We have
Smart.
the side. We've always done that, but it's more difficult. Pharma
I know.
companies, because they want a breakdown of what you've used the money for.
Yeah.
Example, I asked for a contribution. It's supposed to be a free contribution towards our annual conference. But they want to know, more or less how much this conference costs and so on and so forth. And they never give you the exact amount that you need. And they do not want you to use that money for research or anything. So you have to find it other ways.
Yeah.
And we're doing that now. And I feel much safer having something so that I know that if the pharma company keeps reducing what it
Yeah.
offers. We used to be able to offer a whole weekend to the families free of charge in the hotel.
Yeah.
And everything, you will remember that. But we can't do it anymore because it's just impossible. So we ask the families, we know the families that are in difficulty. We've known them for
Yeah.
many years. We take care of them, but all the others, we ask them to pay their way because we just don't have the money otherwise. And it works. I mean, they're starting to understand that we're not spending the money to go on a holiday. We're spending it
No.
for research. We're spending it for projects which could be useful, important for the families. By the way, you'll see in that package that Angel has for you, that we translated the IGA information booklet, okay? And we translated it into Italian, but we did something different. We asked our families if they wanted to send a picture or write something or whatever, and they did. And this is a painting that a type 3 patient was an artist, and we put it on our front cover of this. This is Gaucher disease information booklet. And we also talk about the IgA and this sort of thing. And we have pictures of the children. We have pictures of, it's really nice. It's nice to look at it. And it makes reading the scientific information, which is very up to date, it makes it much more pleasant because you see the picture of a type 3 child or a type 2 child smiling with his parents, and it's nice.
Yeah.
And
it's better when you have patients involved in the activities.
It's so important, and it takes a lot of work because not everybody wants to show up, not everybody wants to be seen, and it's not easy. But we've managed. It's working. So
of course it is. Yeah. Okay.
So may I speak, Vesna?
I think Kim wanted to speak before you, and then you
that wasn't very.
Okay, Kim, carry on.
You can go first. You can go first.
Okay, Manjit, go on.
Oh, thank you very much, Vesna, for such an excellent, presentation and excellent way that you spoke about the chocolate and the other in-kind issues. Amazingly, it's very nice. I wanted just add in the last slide, which I saw, that people can give their space also for doing our events, isn't it? In the last slide, the first item was there. So, my friends, I have got such a good circle around who understand the rare disease subject now, and they continue to give us spaces for doing our events free of cost. That is a very big thing. Not today, for many years together. Even my employer, where I was working as an independent corporate lawyer, they gave me space to have our stuff and the office there for last more than 10 years. So this is what in kind the subject which you touched upon.
Yeah, it
and
is.
It's a very glad to share that most of my friends and families, and there are other, when they come to know, they come and volunteer to join the programs so that they spread the word about the genetic testing and rare diseases. So this is what I wanted to add. Kim, carry on, please. Come on.
Yeah, you need as many as people possible to get the work done, definitely. Kim?
Funding is a very big issue.
I was just going to say, in Sweden, we don't have a fund per se, but we still keep, there is always a little bit of money that we always keep up to keep, so we don't go broke. So
yes. Well, as I said, taking care of an organization, it's like taking care of a living thing. It's like your family, actually, and in your family budget, you always keep a savings for bad times. So it's the same you do with your organizations. And as I said in the beginning, give the plant a lot of water, a lot of care, a lot of love, and the plant will grow and be very grateful to you. That's is the same with the organization. It's the same with your sponsors and donors, with your volunteers, but it's also, with your friends and family. So you need to keep the balance with everything. I've also prepared a little bit of a sort of a handout. It's very short. So you can see I put an example of a donation letter. So this is how I ask money for International Gaucher Day. I put on the financial, what the activity is about, the goal, the idea, what are we going to do. I give them a financial frame, but I also give them in-kind contributions that are welcomed. I say, if you don't have money to give us, you can do something from this list. If you can do something from this list, that's also helpful, because, usually when people don't have, people or companies, when they don't have money to give, they will just say, sorry, we cannot support you. But when you say, if you don't have money, you can also give something else, it makes them think. This is why we spoke a lot about the in-kind donations. We also talk about who supported us last year. And we also leave a description of our activity report. We send them a link because our activity report is on our webpage. It's in English, so you're able to see it and read it and see how it looks. And I also made an in-kind donation request for support as an example. I also found some links that are interesting to read with a lot of creative ideas that I mentioned some of them, with the sports and the art and everything else, but there are a lot of ideas here. I've opened everything from here, and I've read it before I sent it to you. So if you can imagine, I opened 100 of these, but I'm sending you only 10. So they are checked out. They are checked out. And I will send this to you, so you will have it after this workshop. together with the PowerPoint presentation. And of course, there will be a video from this workshop. I know we are over time, but I want to ask if there is something that you want to ask me or something that I didn't mention, but you want to know.
I
You're
just
sure?
want to thank you. I mean, this was great, really. And especially these handouts and also presentations. So thank you very much.
No problem. I mean, I'm willing to help. And if somebody has a question or wants something else, you know, some example of something, I'm here. No problem. Just write me an email. You know my email, Vesna Goshelans, and I will be happy to answer. And I know we are not a lot of people, but before we finish, I would just like to ask if this was useful for you. And there is anonymous voting on the link that I'm sending to you. That's in chat. So just click and vote. And you can vote in the 3 seconds. Ooh, okay.
On the www.menti.com. I have already done.
Yeah.
Vesna, thank you very much once again. And it was, you know, what we find is there are quite similarities in nations across the globe.
Yes.
And so far, pharma companies were concerned, as we were talking about, it's a very, the task is very treating now. It is very getting difficult day by
Well,
day.
This is why I was not speaking about pharma, because we all do that. So I
Yeah.
decided to speak
But
about
I
other
appreciate
things.
I appreciate that you have given such a good alternates which can be worked upon and
Yeah,
working. Working.
it requires work. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. No? So I really appreciate that it's very difficult to get funding from any corner of the world, but it is up to the will and whim that we can work on this. And the in kind, I really appreciate that you have mentioned in detailing the in-kind services people can offer, and they have been doing it to us also in India. I hope, my friends, you may or may not agree with me, but this is what the scenario is all around. So far reserve fund is concerned, we have a limited sources for that, and we are not allowed to publish them because of our government regulations. Otherwise, it's a very strict government in India now to track the things.
There are different regulations in different countries, and we should all pay attention to that. There is also something I just thought of, and they didn't mention it. Not just taxes, but I realized that in North Macedonia, people, when they pay fines, if they were in a car accident or something like that, they can also pay a percentage of that fine to a non-government organization as a donation. So that's another that's another, you know, resource that may be possible. I didn't know about it. It was my friend. He called me and he said they gave me a fine of 200 euros and I don't want it to pay that to the government because they do nothing with our money. So I'm going to send it to your organizations because you do more than they do. So, you know, that's also something useful to learn about, you know, doing responsible things with non-government organizations like ours that actually help people. Don't forget to tell people that you help people a lot, you know. And as Fernanda mentioned, you have the nice stories from the patients and the families, and those are useful when you talk to people that want to support you. And thank you for answering yes, that this workshop was useful. All of you said yes, so that's nice. Yeah. I hope to see you again, and maybe you can share some more other creative ways of gathering
Francisco,
money.
you have any word to say? Hi, Francisco. You have anything to say?
No.
CEO?
No, no, I
Why
don't
not?
have anything to add, because it's, I've not been working much on the raising
The subject.
funding, so I was really wondering to learn something more and to help, because here in Portugal, in the organization, this is not my issue, is not the fundraising, but it's always nice to know something new to help the organization to get some more funds, because there are always few. And thank you very much, Vesna. It was nice
Thank you so much.
to know something more and have new ideas. And sometimes they are so simple, but yes, we need to see and to hear, to get them and do something more. Thank you.
Biljana, you need to add something more. Hi.
No, thank you. No.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for
Yes,
joining and for joining the discussion. Kim, you want to add something?
Yes,
Hey.
I found this workshop very useful, actually. And one more thing I would like to say. My organization has just started a YouTube channel, actually, where we have put up some seminars from researchers. So I
That's
think you
nice.
should actually. They are also in English, so but the YouTube
Please-
channel.
Please
I
share
can
the YouTube
actually-
channel, yeah.
Can I can put up a link to that.
You can put up a link to the chat, yes. And I think Naima wanted to say something.
Yes, good evening. In Morocco, we have a problem for this donation, more problem for this donation. There's people coming to us, some people coming to us to donate some money, some chairs, and something for these children and these people with disease. But we don't know how to go to the people to ask. But now with you, we learn more, and thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing
you.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so Kim, you can also send the YouTube link to I think the best idea would actually be to get the YouTube link to Harry and to put it up in a newsletter saying the organization made a YouTube channel, it's available here, and it can be an IGA newsletter so everybody can hear about it.
Okay.
That would be the best
I will-
idea. You
I
can
will do
send it
that.
to me and I will connect you with Harry if you don't have his email, no problem.
I have Harry's email, so
Excellent. Just make a post for the newsletter, please.
yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, everyone. Now I will close the workshop and I hope to see you again on another one.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you to Angel,
Thank you very
Angel
much.
also.
Bye-bye.
Angel, thank you very much for.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
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 Bye.